Usually, painting in the detailed way that I do, I don't have the need to paint a large area of a really smooth wash effect. But here I wanted to paint a clear blue sky to make my magnolia stand out, so I thought I'd show you how to do it without the stress. Firstly, I need to use a brush much bigger than my normal ones and able to hold lots of paint. This is a mop style round brush made of a synthetic hair. This size of brush will paint areas of wash up to about A3 size, which is 12 by 16 inches or 30 by 40 centimetres. It's about 3 centimetres long or 1 inch long and just under a centimetre or a third of an inch wide. Secondly, I paint onto textured cold pressed paper, sometimes confusingly called knot paper, as in not hot pressed, because normally I work on hot pressed, very smooth watercolour paper. This allows me to paint really crisp edges, which is perfect for detail. But the textured surface of the cold pressed paper does have a purpose, and that purpose is to evenly distribute the watercolour paint over the paper when we lay down a wash. Here you can see the difference between a wash on smooth hot press paper and textured cold press paper. As I'm also wanting to paint detail in my picture with the magnolia, I will lose some definition with my details, so it's going to be a trade-off, but I really have to use the textured paper to get the smooth effect over this large area. Because I'll be working with wet paint in a quick way, I must make sure that I mask off the flower here so that I can achieve a nice crisp edge to it. So I draw the outline edge of it and then I fill it in with masking fluid. In order to get a smooth, even coverage over a large area, we must make sure that we don't create hardline edges where the paint dries as we're reloading our brush. For that reason, we need to start off by mixing up enough paint to cover the whole area in one go, which is why I'm using a plate here so I've got lots of room to create that wash. So we need to move quickly, and we usually think that we have no room for error, as it's hard to rectify any mistakes. This is what can prove pretty stressful when looking to achieve a really smooth finish with watercolour. But I find the best way to safeguard against getting any unwanted hardline edges is to work in layers. I want to aim for at least 4 layers in total. The more layers, the more scope there is for being able to correct any hardline edges that might appear. So because I want 4 layers, I aim to create a mix which is at least 4 times lighter than I want the final result to be. Knowledge of this comes with practice, but you can test your mix in your sketchbook first. Working on dry paper, I apply the mix with a back and forth wash motion as smoothly and evenly as I can, moving quickly with my brush and taking care not to let areas dry out as I reload my brush. Note that I work with the paper flat. This is because I'm aiming for a completely even coverage. If you wanted a gradient effect with the paint darker on one side than the other, then you could angle your paper at about 45 degrees with the edge that you wanted to be darkest at the bottom, so that the paint will pool there and appear darker as a result. Ideally, you want to work methodically so that you only ever have one drying edge to concern yourself with at one time. As you'll see here, I did not do that with this first layer, and here I have 2 edges that are drying at once, which was really tricky to manage. I'll just speed this up to show you. I ended up getting a small hardline edge, which I then made much worse by trying to work into whilst it was still wet. Adding more water to it just made it bloom out and create an effect I really didn't want. If you did this, you might be concerned that your lovely smooth sky was ruined, and it would be if you wanted your sky to be this pale and had hoped to apply it in just one layer. But you'll see how, through applying more layers, we can get rid of that hardline edge effortlessly. Crucially, I wait until the paper is fully dry before I apply the next layer. Notice how I work this time on one side at a time so that I only have one drying edge. And I also turn my paper around so that my angle can be comfortable for my hand to work quickly. Then I apply layer 3 and I also let that dry. Notice how that hardline edge I'd made has naturally disappeared. If you created a hardline edge at this later stage, say at layer 3 or even layer 4, you could still rectify it by diluting your wash right down and adding a couple more layers. Because these next layers would be so much more watery, they wouldn't take the area too dark, but they would soften the hardline edge. And finally, I apply layer 4. Once that's dry, I then peel off the masking fluid, and after neatening up a few of my flower edges with the same blue paint and a tiny brush, I carry on and paint the rest of the flower as normal. So why not try working in layers with your washes, letting each layer dry in between for smooth and stress-free watercolour effects. The full step-by-step tutorial showing how to paint this whole magnolia flower in full detail is available via my online school. If you've enjoyed this tip video, please visit watercolorswithwow.com where you can sign up for a free step-by-step tutorial, check out the materials I recommend, view more tip videos, upload your own work to a gallery, and lots more. Thanks for watching.